Hello and welcome, or should I say bonjour et bienvenue à Québec Gare Du Palais. Today we're heading down to Montreal with a business class ride on Via Rail's Renaissance train sets. Gare du Palais, or Palace Station, is Quebec's central railway terminus and serves Via Rail's corridor trains. Built in 1915 by the Canadian Pacific Railway, the beautiful chateau-esque building is modeled after the Château de la Loire in France. It is also very similar in style to that of the Château Frontenac Hotel about a half-mile from the station entrance. The station is named after Palace Street, which in turn was named after the palace of the Intendant or Civil Administrator of New France. The station now lies on Rue de la Gare du Palais, the street renamed in 1986. The interior of the building is just as stunning as the exterior. The station foyer features a vaulted ceiling with stained glass inset in the skylight. Unfortunately, a net partially obscures the view upwards, a part of the ongoing station renovations taking place at the time of filming. An ornate station clock and old signs from the Quebec Central and Canadian National Railways are spotted here as well. The main waiting hall is a little less fancy than the foyer, but it's still very pretty. Large windows on the walls let in plenty of natural light, illuminating the seating area and two shops for waiting passengers. Fleur-de-lis are everywhere in this station. These beautifully painted ones inset along the bricks are just one example of the many scattered throughout the terminus. With our business class ticket this afternoon comes access to Quebec's business class lounge. The lounge is located in the far corner of the station next to the doors out to the platforms. The lounge is super small, with only around 20 seats. Although a separate area, the lounge isn't actually a separate room. The wall nearest the ticketing desk reaches only halfway to the ceiling, meaning we hear almost everything going on outside the lounge. At least we get complimentary beverages including coffee, tea, sodas, juice, and water. Again, there's no food, but we'll be served dinner shortly after departure, so no worries there. While we wait for boarding to begin, let's take a quick look at our route down to Montreal. Our journey begins heading northwest out of Quebec City before wrapping around to Sainte-Foy Station and the Pierre LaPorte Bridge. With no stops to Drummondville, the speeds pick up, our train darting through the Canadian farmland. The stations then come in quick succession, our corridor service stopping in Drummondville, Saint-Hyacinthe, and Saint-Lambert within an hour. Approaching Montreal, we cross back over the St. Lawrence River, the tracks turning north before arriving at Montreal's Gare Centrale. We'll cover a total of 167 miles on our ride today, with a travel time of 3 hours and 15 minutes. Our inbound train soon backs into the station, and we can head out to Platform 1 for boarding. As expected, our train today is made up of a set of Via's Renaissance coaches, a European-designed, Canadian-operated fleet of cars with a rather interesting past. The Renaissance fleet is beautiful. Their striking green color scheme paired with their rounded European shape makes for some of the best-looking rail cars in North America. Business class is located in Car 1 at the front of the train. Stepping on board, we find our assigned seat, 12S, and get settled in for the ride ahead. Coach class concludes their boarding and Via Rail Train 29 departs Quebec. Via's Renaissance coaches were initially constructed in the 1990s for the Night Star, an overnight train between the UK and continental Europe operating via the Channel Tunnel. The Night Star project was scrapped in 2000, with Via Rail electing to purchase all 139 complete and incomplete Night Star coaches. The coaches were shipped to Canada before entering service in 2002. Of the 139 coaches purchased, only 106 cars ever made it into service. Both coach and business class on Via's Renaissance trains are operated in a 2x1 with almost exclusively airline-style rows. There are 2 tables for group seating plus a row for passengers with disabilities at the ends of each car. Business class seats feature a brown and beige maquette, with what I believe to be the only modern use of the Via 1 logo embroidered into the leather antimacassar. Each seat offers around 9 inches of legroom, though there's a little space beneath the next seat to stretch out. A footrest is also provided, though I find it's much too close to be useful. The small seat back pocket is located on the lower half of the seat back, inside of which is the safety information card for our Renaissance coach. Instead of folding down, each tray table slides up and out of its holster before folding across the seat. The dual-segmented table can then be unfurled farther for a very large dining or working space. Other at-seat amenities include 2 power outlets and a trash bag on the wall, with a single LED reading light built into the ceiling. Comfort is a must on overnight trains, and Via did a fairly good job at continuing that trend into these daytime running cars. The seats are curved for optimal lumbar support, include plenty of soft padding on the back and bottom, with an aggressive winged headrest to help passengers get some sleep on longer rides. Beside each seat are 2 massive padded armrests, their addition adding to the already excellent seating. For when it's time to relax or get some shut-eye, each seat can be reclined quite far. Pulling up on the latch integrated into the armrest allows the bottom to slide forward and the back to recline into an excellent lounge chair. The forward movement of the bottom allows these seats to recline without intruding on the space behind, so there's never any need to be concerned with ruining another traveler's experience. The actual layout of the coach is where things get interesting. For starters, all of the seats are elevated above the central aisle, which gives a sense of separation and privacy when seated. The sleeper design is also seen in the luggage hold. Below the seat is a large slanted storage space with easily enough room for a medium-sized suitcase and a backpack. For items too big to fit in the seat back pocket but too small to store below, a mid-range storage space is built into the ceiling. It's a little less traditional than a standard overhead rack, but the net helps prevent items from falling out. The biggest advantage to each of these strange spaces is that they're blocked off from the other rows, which gives some peace of mind for overnight travelers. If you're enjoying our ride on Via's Renaissance coaches, why not hit that subscribe button? It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. If you want to go the extra mile with your support, then check out the channel's Patreon or become a channel member. If you too want your name in the video or just want to support the channel in more ways than one, then head on over to the links in the description below. Drinks are the first service in business class on Via Rail. Complimentary alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages are available to all business class passengers. I went with an evening gin and tonic, which is followed shortly by a refreshing cold towel and a small snack pack. Our train twists and turns as it leaves Quebec, views of the Cap-Rouge Trestle and the St. Lawrence River visible through the tree line. Departing Sainte-Foy, our train makes another sharp curve to begin its crossing of the St. Lawrence River. Canadian National's Quebec Bridge hosts the railway. The bridge opened in 1919. The 3,238-foot or 987-meter-long structure supports 3 highway lanes, 1 rail line, and a pedestrian walkway. Going across the bridge looks a little something like this. Yes, the footage is reversed, but just use your imagination. Beside the Quebec Bridge is another massive structure, the Pierre LaPorte Bridge. Constructed in 1970, the bridge is the longest main-span suspension bridge in Canada, a title which it will soon lose once the Gordie Howe International Bridge opens in 2025. The Chaudière River is our next waterway crossing, the sun reflecting off the shallow waters below. Now running parallel to the Trans-Canada Highway, our train accelerates to its top speed of 100 miles per hour. Having concluded the first service, our business car attendant comes back through to deliver our dinner. Via Rail offers complimentary meals to all business class passengers. For our meal this evening, I opted for the homemade meatballs, which come served with a roll, cheese and grapes, and a caramel chocolate mousse for dessert. Wine is also available to complete the dining experience, but I chose water instead. The main course is okay at best. The meatballs are plated on a bed of sautéed greens with a side of polenta. The meatballs themselves are tender and very well seasoned, and the polenta adds a milder note to the dish. The problem is that the greens are really terrible. It's all super bitter, and it looked like I had been served more stem than leaf. Plus their excess moisture has pooled around the polenta, making them a bit soggy. Not a good start to the meal. The bread is much better, with bits of olive scattered throughout. The cheese and grapes are delicious, though it would have been nice to have more than 2 grapes to go with. The savior to the meal is of course the dessert. The chocolate mousse is rich and sweet, contrasted wonderfully by the salty sweet caramel on top. Unfortunately, I really can't give this meal anything higher than a 4 out of 10, so I won't. It's a 3.5. I would likely rate it closer to a 5 if those greens just weren't so bad. Outside, rural Canada continues to whip past the window. Dining now finished, it's time to get up and explore our car and the rest of our train set. Starting up at the front of the business class car, we find a coat rack, the aforementioned table seating, and the bathroom. At the other end of the car are the accessible seats and 2 large luggage racks. Between business and coach is the service car. A combination kitchen, cafe, and lounge area, the service car serves as a communal space for passengers to hang out, dine, or get some work done on longer journeys. It's also the only car on the train to offer Wi-Fi, though the connection isn't great. Continuing through the cafe car, we enter coach class, or at least we attempt to, the door refusing to open fully. Another car, another broken door. Although comfortable, these cars have been plagued with mechanical issues throughout their lifetime. Hoping for an unobstructed view of the rails behind us, I continued through the broken doors to the rear of the train. Of course, the view out the back is anything but unobstructed. Because there's no permanent door to isolate the end of the car, a fabric door has been installed in addition to the vestibule being locked closed. There's also some hastily posted danger signs taped on the walls in the vestibule and on the innermost door. While we can't get a good look at the tracks behind us, we can at least take a look at coach class while we're here. Coach class is virtually identical to business class with the same 2x1 layout and elevated seats. Coach seats offer a similar 9 inches of legroom and a footrest which folds down from the seat back. Above the footrest is a small seatback pocket which again contains the safety information card. The tray table deploys by sliding up and out of its holster before folding out across the seat. Outlets are found between the dual rows or towards the window on the single side of the train. Reclining works in the same way as business class, with the latch integrated into the armrest. The only major difference between coach and business is the seat maquette. Coach class features a mild blue with black antimacassars and fabric armrests instead of leather ones. We'll see these seats again in a couple weeks when we climb back aboard the Ocean to head down to Montreal, but for now it's back to business class. Returning to our business class car, it's time to take a look at the bathroom on board. The bathroom, as we found, is located at the front of our car. Although on the smaller side, this bathroom is functional and fairly clean. The sink works well with plenty of soap, paper towels, and two 120-volt outlets found just below the mirror. There's also plenty of toilet paper and a hand sanitizer dispenser for an alternative cleaning option. For a bathroom, it's fine. It's very basic and doesn't really fit in with the rest of the business class car, but it works, and sometimes that's all you need. Outside, rural Canada continues to whip past the window, the sun slowly setting beyond the horizon. Much like the day comes to a close, so too must the life of the Renaissance coaches. From the moment they entered service, Via's Renaissance fleet has been plagued with mechanical and accessibility issues. Taking the place of the Renaissance coaches and later the LRCs and Bud coaches are 32 Siemens Venture train sets. The new trains feature modern, comfortable seating, larger windows, improved lighting, greater accessibility, and a potential top speed of 125 miles per hour should track infrastructure be upgraded. That's also not to mention that they look fantastic. The Siemens SCV42 is aggressive and improved for the Canadian environment, the livery completing the sleek and stylish look. 10 of the 32 train sets have been delivered so far, with more on the way in the coming years. Darkness sets in as the Montreal skyline grows ever closer on the horizon. Our ride must end in the same way it began, by crossing the St. Lawrence River. Our train wraps its way through Montreal, pulling into Montreal's Gare Centrale at the end of the line. As our train crawls into Gare Centrale, it's time to bring today's video to a close. Next week, we'll be starting off a new series on the channel, where we'll take a look at all of Amtrak's sleeping accommodations, starting off with the Superliner roomettes. If you're new around here, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. I want to extend a huge thank you to my patrons and members. Y'all are amazing and your incredible generosity is greatly appreciated. If you too want your name in the video or just want to support the channel in more ways than one, then head on over to the links in the description below. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for riding with me, and I'll see you in the next one.